Let's move on to our third round. Again, this final round involving all three contestants. Although, heck, it's the final round. I'd like to have everybody the way this is going.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, we're all family here.
We're all exactly. It's holidays, it's Christmas, it's gift giving. We'll see what happens. But the third and final round, great take gives you 800 points. A good take gives you 400. An okay take gives you 200 points. And a bad take, again, you come home empty-handed. So the two teams that played in the Super Bowl both put out less than great performances. That's putting it mildly. The Kansas City Chiefs with a brutal loss, 20-14 to the Las Vegas Raiders at home at Arrowhead Stadium. Patrick Mahomes, the offense, really struggling. Giving up. By the way, not giving up. Giving. You guys talk about takeaways being the theme of the show. Back-to-back defensive touchdowns for the Raiders to help them win this game. By the way, they did not complete a pass after the first quarter and will still able to go to Kansas City and get the W. Meanwhile, for the beloved, I know everybody here loves the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles at home against the New York Giants, barely struggling to beat Tommy DeVito / Tyrod Taylor at the end, in large part due to their defensive struggles, and a pick six by Jalen Hurts certainly didn't help the Eagles' cause. So neither team is playing very well right now, and obviously both with Super Bowl expectations and aspirations. I'll start with you, AJ. Who's more likely to get to the Super Bowl? Is it the Eagles or is it the Chiefs?
Crack if you got him. let me just stamp that card. Honestly, this is really hard for me to come to a decision on. I've been thinking about it, and I went through the offense and defense comparisons, just trying to pick the best players on the team. Best player on offense outside of any quarterbacks is Kelsey for Kansas City. Casey also was missing Pacheco, if I can say his name right, the running back, for 2 games, and then he ended up getting concussion, was out for the game. That doesn't solve their offensive woes, though. If I look to Philadelphia, I feel like their offense is more electric, even though it hasn't been really functioning very well. But their defense is really questionable. So, I mean, shoot, I could flip a coin here. But I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say I think Eagles have been looking better in their losses.
Wow.
And look like they could still bounce back, whereas I'm not seeing a lot. I thought there might be from KC with the rise of Rashee Rice, but I'm just not seeing a lot from their offense to be like excited. I know they have the better defense, but when it comes down to like who's going to do better or who's going to make it to the Super Bowl, let's say it was the better chance, I just feel like Philly has the better chance, maybe because they're in our division and I watch them a little more.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point you made. Now, obviously, I mean, again, I'm leaning more Kansas City just because I like their defense way more than Philly's. But like, it's an offensive league, and obviously we know Mahomes is the better quarterback between him and Jalen. But at the same time, when you compare weapons, it's not even close. Kelsey would be the best offensive weapon on the Eagles, but AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard, Swift, you saw what he did yesterday. By the way, Philly's offensive line today is miles better than Kansas City's. They struggled badly yesterday against that Vegas pass rush. So I think you made some good points. And AJ, I'm gonna give you a great take here, my man. Great take with the 50-point bonus of the Crack'em. So AJ in first place on the Cowboys Cam Fam edition of the 8 o'clock spot. So shout out to you, my man. You're about as close as you've ever been to getting your first W. So
AJ's on fire.
Right, he is on fire right now. Moving on to Adam right now. Who's more likely to get to the Super Bowl? Is it the Eagles or is it the Chiefs?
Well, I mean, considering the performance last night, I still think the San Francisco 49ers are a very tough team. I think Philly, the way that they've been playing, even against the New York Giants, I think they've been struggling. Something's going on with their offense. I mean, they have an offensive line, they have a defensive line, they have all these players, but yet they can't get the mojo mixing. So I do think that Philly is in a tough spot as a complete team. And they have to go through our Dallas Cowboys or the San Francisco 49ers on the NFC. So that's where I lean a little bit more towards Patty Mahomes. I mean, he's been to how many Super Bowls and postseason wins? Regardless, with all the issues that they're having now with their team, once the regular season's done, you're in the playoff. It's a whole different atmosphere. It's a whole level of it's a whole different level of playing. So my take is that I'm going to go with KC has a better shot at making it through to the Super Bowl because the Eagles ain't making it through San Francisco, and they sure as heck ain't making it through them Cowboys. Crack them if you got them.
I was gonna say, I was thinking you forgot about your crack them there, but you did at the end there. I like it. I like the creativity there. But and listen, I would take. I was talking today on my show on Carving It Up that if Philadelphia were to fall the 5 seed, I'd take them to lose to Tampa. If they're the 2 seed, I think they'd lose to Seattle. If they're the 3 seed, I definitely would take the Rams, given how they're playing as of late. I just don't like what I'm seeing defensively from the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think you made some really good points. I'm going to give Adam a good take. It was a solid take for this segment. I tend to agree with you, but again, I think it was a pretty good take for this segment. And finally, and by the way, you know what? It's the holidays. It's the day after Christmas. Everybody advances to the final round. Okay, so everybody's advancing to the final round on the Cowboys Camp Fan edition of the 8 o'clock spot. We got to do it, man. It's Christmas. I'm not going to stick in the mud right now. But to Anth, to finish before we get into our final round topic, who's more likely to make the Super Bowl? Is it the Chiefs or the beloved Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, I'm not going to be creative like my brother over there. I'm just going to get it right out of the way. Crack him if you got him. Give me that 50 points.
So I'm going to kind of piggyback off of both their takes. It's kind of hard not to when you're going second over 2 teams. Like they each took KC, one took the Eagles. So I'm going to kind of go in between there. As far as Kansas City right now, they're matched up to play the Browns in the wild card. And I'm telling you right now, you do not want to play the Browns right now. If you're talking about storybook endings, the Browns have it. They have Joe Flacco right now, and they have that defense. So they're a scary team to play. If KC has to play the Browns, they're getting knocked out round 1. And then if you even look at the other teams that KC might play, I don't like their odds there. I don't like Patrick Mahomes' attitude right now. I don't like seeing Kelsey throw a helmet and act like a little baby. So they seem like they're in a big kind of array, and they've never been in this situation. They've always kind of just floated through, got into the postseason, and then turned it on, right? They have a lot of adversity. If you go over to the Eagles, I know you said you don't like their defense really, but they have a top defensive line in the NFL. Yeah. And what do you need in playoffs in January? You need that defensive line. And then you look at their offensive players. What else do you need? You need a running game, you need a decent quarterback, and you need receivers. So that offensive team, as long as their defense can do what it needs to do, those guys could, if they figure it out, the Eagles are able to put up 30 to 40 points a game in January. And I don't think KC's at that point with their offense. Kelsey's good, but they're just not elevated this year. Their offensive line is terrible. They have a couple playmakers on defense, but not enough to get them over the hump. I got to go with Philadelphia, as much as I hate to say it. I don't like Philly either. I think Philly could lose in the wild card, but they have a better chance at the Super Bowl in my mind right now than the Crybabies.
Dang, shots at the Chiefs, shots at the home. I mean, listen. It's.
I'm here.
Man, listen, nobody loved that game more than Max Crosby. I'll tell you that right now. He was enjoying every second of that. But, I mean, listen, you make great points. And obviously, again, as we talked about earlier, it's kind of more of an offensive league these days. And, you know, when Kansas City's struggling the way that they are. And again, both locker rooms seem to be dealing with a little bit of turmoil. I heard Devontae Smith yesterday say, like, we've won 11 games. I still don't like how we're playing. Like, there's a real kind of disconnect there. And with Kansas City, yeah, there's a frustration that has not been there in quite some time. But this is why, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody watching and listening, this is why these guys are the best of the business, okay? Because they gave the Eagles their props in the areas that they need to give their props in. And by the way, great take. You're tied at the top with AJ moving into the final round. Adam, you're lucky that it's Christmas, otherwise you'd be eliminated. But we are going the final round, all 3 on the Cowboys Campus Show.
Hey, it's a Christmas miracle that I'm in the finals, you know?
You know, it kind of, sometimes the cookie crumbles that way, but I'm like, I'm in a giving spirit today, and y'all the best. So
we're not counting Alex's first crack 'em just so I have more points than him. Just kidding.
No, we're giving it to him. He still got it all.
He did. True.